A couple years ago, I asked the guys at Hooks Custom Calls they would help us develop a call that had the tone and rhythm I wanted. I couldn't find anything on the market that really fit my needs.
It's kind of amazing to me how well it's carrying.
Oh, it's stunning. I'm thrilled with that.
Oh, there it is.
That's better there. Yeah. That's where James got involved. He's a master call maker and an avid deer hunter. We shared several videos with James and talked to him, and he was able to make a call that produced the sounds I wanted.
Yeah, me and Grant we got down there like a year and a half ago and started working on designing a grunt call, and we wanted something different than everybody else was running, just that old deep, dominant buck grunt sound. We wanted something that had good sound, that was a younger buck that would actually, get them dominant bucks to come in, challenge, and, because a lot of guys, they want to shoot deer. They want to fill up their freezers and stuff, and we wanted to make a call that would call in does, young bucks, 3-year-old bucks, all the way up the ladder. What we did with Grant and I was working on the sound and the rhythms of the actual deer grunting and listening to live deer and real deer and seeing how they sounded compared to the grunt calls, and we started designing and developing the grunt call, and from that we got the messenger grunt call. So our challenge was to get a call that whether that deer is 10 yards from you or he's 200 yards, you still got that same sound and going at it like that. So that's how we kind of started working and designing on the call. And we tested the messenger out to about 250 yards, 200 yards, and the neat thing about it was sound was carrying and cutting through. One thing on the messenger is we don't have an expansion tube on the bottom or anything, and what the expansion tubes were doing was actually restricting the sound, and when it was coming out, it was actually distorting in that tube, so when it sounded good from me to you, but when it got out there at 80 and 100 yards, it didn't sound right. So removing that tube, that sound that's coming out is pure sound with no distortion, and it's actually cutting and carrying through the woods and the fields farther. And we're not blowing. And the one good thing I liked about the call when I started designing it was I wanted a call that would blow very soft, because a lot of times when we're bow hunting out there, them deer may be 40 yards at you and you want to grunt at them or try to get them to turn a little bit, but you don't want to do it where you blast them and they spook. Right. So with the messenger, you can just barely little air into it, just.
And they turn.
Yeah, like and they'll turn.
They hear it. You think it's too soft sometimes, but they pick it up.
Yeah, so they're versatile calls. I mean, Grant's spent his whole life, with deer and studying deer, and I've spent pretty much my life building calls and stuff like that. So it worked out great for us to pair up and get this call to where it's at. And when you get your call, you can see there's 3 grooves on the back of that call where that O-ring sits. Now your top groove is actually for a really young buck or a doe. So if early season, if you're wanting to grunt at some does and get some coming in, like you guys had some video last year, some does just blasting in.
Hit the grunt, and the does just turned around and came right in.
So early season, I'll leave it up on that first setting and just. Notice it's got that higher pitch, but it still keeps that rhythm broke up like an actual deer grunt. And you can get quiet on that, or you can get loud on it.
Yeah.
And from there. Now your second setting, which is your middle groove, which all your calls when you get them packaged from the store and when I package them, they're all set on the second setting.
Okay.
And that's going to be like your 2-year-old buck right in there, ready to go. Yep. And that's more of a little bit deeper, little slower rhythm on that, and from there. And then if you want to get, let's say a lot of guys like that rut hunt when the bucks are really chasing, drop it down on that third groove, and that's going to be your 3-year-old buck in through there, get a little bit heavier. Now I blow my grunt call with my hand.
That's what I do.
And I don't really muffle the sound or anything like that. I just, nice like that. Yep. I have played with just in my hands on it. You can do that if you want to. It changes the sound up a little bit where you can go. Or just go. And when me and Grant was talking about designing this, we wanted a call that you could just pick up, blow into, and set back down, because we didn't want to have to work with a tube or anything like that. So design the call, just pick up. The sound's right there.
James, how many of these do you make are you making right now?
Right now, I'm working on 1,000. They're going to be done this week. Then I'll have a couple more 1,000 coming in, so we're going to have plenty of calls in stock ready to go.
Right.
You know, so we're, you know, hookscustomcalls.com. You can check them out on the website there. Check them out on Amazon. If you got any questions about the calls, feel free to shoot us an email at HooksCalls. Scott will be more than glad to answer your questions or anything, or get in contact with me. We'll go through it, and, you know, got any questions or anything on the calls itself, give us a holler.
It looks like James is going to be busy for a while putting together and tweaking calls, but I'm sure he'll find time to get out in the stand and do some more field research this fall.